Hello guys, today we're going to be talking about Chat GTP?
GPT.
GPT. We should probably get the name right first.
Start again.
Further to our chat on the Zoom the other day, wasn't it? The Kick-Ass weekly members Zoom.
That's right.
We were talking about the potential role of Chat GTP in GTP.
GPT.
Chat G. in
AI.
In helping us do our blogging and doing little bits and bobs for us. So let's get into it.
That's it. So for me, I think Chat GPT and AI is really scary, but at the same time we can't stop it. And all we can do is make the most of it. So
That's number one question, isn't it? Is a robot going to take over half of our job?
that's the thing. As a wedding photographer, it can't really. You've got to be there. So that's one good thing. And we can absolutely use AI to help us with our marketing. I've been trying it out and it is fantastic. It saves time. It makes things easier, especially if you're either not good at copywriting or not confident with copywriting, or you just don't know what to say sometimes with like an Instagram caption or an email you get from a client, you don't know how to respond. These are places where it can really, really help. Or like SEO. If you don't want to learn SEO and don't know anything about it, you can be like, you can ask it questions about SEO or get it to write you things for SEO that will really help you. But you've got to be careful. So I've been looking into this Chat GPT thing for a while. I've been playing around with it for a while. I've been seeing what it does. I've been reading forums about it. I've got all nerdy about it. So I have got a few tips for you guys, ways you can use it, and ways you should definitely not use it.
I haven't seen it at all, so I'm interested. No, I've not seen a word other than obviously some of the results from it that people have posted. So I'm interested to see this too.
That is very exciting.
I will be playing the role of a moron who's never seen ChatGTP.
I think in the world we're in, fewer people have seen it than we think, because it comes up in like news feeds for me and stuff because I look into it so much. I'm so aware of it and people talk about it in Facebook groups. I'm really aware of it. And I told my dad about this stuff yesterday and he was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So, other photographers too sometimes like, what on earth is that you're on about? So,
I don't know about anybody else, but I am now questioning everything that I read on Google and anything like that.
Definitely
because
do.
You do see things that you read it and you think, is that written by a human? Like, it doesn't sound quite right.
That's what we don't want. The worst thing that could happen is a potential awesome client comes to your website and goes, this feels like it's written by a robot. It doesn't feel like I'm hearing the photographer's voice. So it's really important that the reader, that your ideal client hears your voice and learns from you, and that you don't put anything that's like not true and not true to you, because it can come back to bite you. You go to a client meeting or you shoot the wedding and they're like, oh yeah, when you said on your blog about that, and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And also the machine is not always right. It can absolutely make mistakes. So don't do anything on here, on ChatGPT, without fact checking everything, without making sure it's in your voice, without making sure it's actually true to your experience. So there's my lecture over. Let's continue. First of all, I'm going to look at how you can use it to improve a blog post. So this could be an old blog post that you come back to or a brand new one. If you're not sure what to say in the blog post, just write out as much as you can about it. This was one that I really phoned in. I was busy when I wrote it. Although it says February, I shouldn't have been busy in February, but there you go. You can be busy. If you want to blog a wedding mid-season, you're busy. So if you can write down anywhere, Google Docs, in your website, straight into ChatGPT, anywhere you like, write down stuff about the wedding, where it happened, when, what they did at the wedding, your thoughts, your experiences, just everything that happened at the wedding. You don't have to make amazing sentences out of it. You don't have to think about how to structure it. Just put it all down. And then copy and paste it into ChatGPT and ask it, say to it, this is the blog post I wrote. Can you please rewrite it XYZ? So you can ask it for a style, you can ask it for a length, you can say, can you just expand on stuff? So I'll show you an example of one that I did. So this, I put in a bit of detail, but not that much. I really didn't put much effort into it at all. So let's zoom up. I wrote, please elaborate on this blog post, expand on the details. It's written from the point of view of a wedding photographer. That's all I asked for.
So let's roll things back. Where did you put this in? Where did you write this?
Oh, so you go to just Google ChatGPT,
okay.
You sign in, and it also saves all your old chats as well, which is really handy. Now, one thing about the chats, the way each one works, it's like each chat is its own thing, and within one chat, so a chat GPT is a conversation with the machine, and in one conversation you are training it. So I could continue this conversation and say, actually, the spire is blah, 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 and it will rewrite stuff based on that new knowledge. So, for example, you could ask it, what's 2 plus 2? And it will say 4. And if you say no, 2 plus 2 is 5, and then you say, what's 2 plus 2? It will say 2 plus 2 is 5. So within that chat, you are training it. So it can tell lies. So do make sure of things like that. But you can train it up with a tone of voice. So if you write one chat and you train it with your tone of voice, you can add to that chat and say, in that same tone of voice, can you write this or that? Which is really handy. So you kind of get to know what kind of things to ask it for.
So this was your original prompt, was it?
Yeah, that's all I wrote. And then I pasted in the whole, everything, the heading, the date and everything in one go. Pasted it all in and it wrote this for me. So for me, firstly, it's got an Americanization, so you definitely want to fix that. I once said, can you write it in British English? And it said stuff like, all right, Gov, and all that stuff. And I'm like, that's not what I meant. So you've got to be careful.
So basically replace all the Z's with S's.
Oh, God, can you imagine?
That is British English, isn't it?
It's basically it. It wrote this for me, and it was a little bit boring, like in conclusion and stuff like that. For me, really, it wasn't my voice. So I wrote less corporate and more chatty. That is all I added. And it's kind of made it write a bit like an email. Hey there, I'd love to chat to you about, like, I would cut that out. That's not me. But stuff like, they had a funky DIY, whatever. It was I don't know, these things, it's just better. Like, it was an interactive experience and everyone loved it. It's better. So you could write another prompt at the bottom and say, please rewrite, but make it more like this or more like that until it's right for you. The main thing here is that I wrote the original content. I did not say to ChatGPT, write me a blog post about a festival wedding at the Spire.
Should we do that? Just for
we can,
argument's sake.
We can. I'll start a new chat.
Let's prompt it.
I always say please as well. Please write me a... And I'm going to also say, with headings written for SEO. So we're going to get a whole thing in here, hopefully. While that's writing it, I will say, never, ever, ever do this. Never. There are so many reasons why. One, it's not your actual experience. Two, anybody across the whole world could write that same prompt and are writing that same prompt, and you will get the exact same text back. And if you then post that onto your blog without any editing, Google's going to be like, why are there 100 articles exactly the same? You will not rank for it. It's not going to look good to Google that you're doing that. So definitely don't do that. Start with your own content. So, as a wedding photographer, I've had the pleasure of capturing many beautiful weddings over the years. I mean, that's just so generic and cheesy for me.
So it seems to have correctly identified that the Spire is in Brighton, UK.
Wow.
I don't know if that's just from your previous history, but...
Oh, this is a new chat. It also said 2000. It said not 2019, which is not
that,
true.
Yeah.
That is inaccurate.
What about the description of the venue? So it says it's got high ceilings, exposed brick walls, and an industrial feel.
It's not too far off, I don't think.
It's kind of half right, isn't it?
Let's have a look. I can't remember. It's not far off.
It's an old church, but it's got that kind of post-apocalyptic church feel.
So it might have actually gone into Google itself and found that information, which is quite cool. One of the things I loved was festival atmosphere, colourful bunting. So I didn't say fairy lights and handmade flower crowns. I didn't actually say that, but they did have that. I guess it knows what a festival wedding is. I used a mix of natural and artificial lighting to highlight the vibrant colours and textures of the decor. I mean, I guess I kind of did, but it doesn't know that. And also that's a weird thing to say and a weird way to say it. But interesting. Live music. There was live music. I didn't say there was, but I guess a festival wedding, it's a fair guess.
So looking at this, it's competently written because it's going to get all the spelling and grammar right.
Yeah.
You know, it knows how to structure an article, but it's totally impersonal and it's getting those personal details wrong.
They didn't have an outdoor ceremony at the Spire for a start.
Filling it in from a database. So that is problematic, isn't it? You don't really want a blog full of stuff that's completely bogus.
Oops. So
I guess you could do it the other way around and get it to write the article for you first off, and then just edit that article to be a bit more personal. That would work too, right?
I'd rather do it the other way around because it's much less work. Putting in your own information and then getting it to write it and then editing it as well. is much less work than just fixing something that's just wrong from the start. I'm going to do this, which is what absolutely everybody can and probably will do, which you shouldn't. I want to see, based on the information I've given it, how much does it know about this venue? Like, none of my personal experience in there at all. How much can it actually tell me? Can it write a blog post about the venue? Let's see what we get. It just means nothing. Modern elegance with historic charm. It's a former converted. It knows that it's a former converted church, a former church. High ceiling stained glass. Interesting. It's not really filled with natural light.
Sadly not, no.
So this is pretty good so far, to be fair. But I, as a reader, I don't know. I want to read the photographer's perspective. I want to read things that a machine couldn't write. Like, I'm not interested in this. I want to know what you have to say. It's useful, I guess. It's a start, and you could use some of it. It's not really a beautiful oasis. It's kind of a lawn on a main road opposite a petrol station. A beautiful oasis.
So what's the default word count for these? Is it random, or have you specified somewhere in the settings? Or?
No, I think it's probably it uses what it knows from the internet, I guess. So
right.
It's probably it knows that you need to write 300 to 3,000 words, and it's doing somewhere in between. The main thing with Google, as we've talked about in previous videos, is don't write more than you need to. Don't write for the sake of writing, because it's going to get boring at that point. So yeah, it's done a decent blog post. Look at that. Like, you can ask it to put headings in and stuff. But like, I need to say it again, do not just copy and paste this. Either massively edit this, which is a lot of work and you might as well start from scratch, or write your own stuff as badly as you like and ask it to just make it sound better. So I would do what I did and ask it to rewrite it. So where's it gone? Here it is, the old previous one, where I said less corporate and more chatty. I thought that was pretty good. So I might actually do another. I might say, please rewrite again and make it sound less like an email, and add some of my experience in there. For example, when I did photos on the crumbly old stairs, and when they had a food truck outside or something like that. Just I'd add in a few more details to make it a bit more personal. And get it to rewrite and rewrite and rewrite, because the more you rewrite it and the more you add to it, the less it's going to be like somebody else's as well. So this is just really great for anyone who's just not confident with writing and not confident with spelling and grammar and stuff like that.
Or if you are and you just can't be bothered.
Which is me.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
So what else are we going to look at?
Right.
We're going to look at some other parts of the site, right?
I'm so excited about this next one. You're going to love this. So I thought, can we respond to wedding photography inquiries through the robot by giving it basically nothing? So I gave it a go. I said, please write a reply to this inquiry. I'm a wedding photographer and available on their date. Show interest in what they're saying. Start a conversation. Include a call to action to Zoom next week.
So that's a lot of parameters. The Android is like got a loading screen on its face while it's processing all of this.
So it wrote a very corporate sounding thing. Look, it says things like, I'm thrilled to hear that you're planning a casual celebration with 125 to 140 of your closest friends. That is such a weird thing to say. Like, if you do this and you get a response, you get an output like this, please ask it to rewrite or rewrite it yourself, because it's just odd.
Well, I can see where it's coming from. It's
taken the information and it's put it into a sentence.
It's quite formal, isn't it?
It's very formal.
That would be appropriate for a business use, which is probably going to be a lot of the standard fare that is using this site.
That's it.
So.
If you're maybe even for corporate photography or something.
Yeah. I get what it's trying to do.
It's fine, but it's not me. So I said less formal, less cheesy, more chatty. And do you know what? It's so perfect. Look at this. I just love this. Your wedding at Pangdene Old Barn sounds like an absolute blast. Exactly what I'd say. I love a good party. Exactly what I'd say. Two awesome humans. Exactly what I'd say. All I said was more chatty. All I said, I'm thrilled to be part of your day. Kind of the vibe I'm all about. It opened the conversation about pricing in a really natural way. Hop on a Zoom, really natural. Love that chatty vibe. It's always nice to put a face to a name, right? I love the chattiness. I'd say something like that.
The only thing I'd change about this is where it's quoted back the exact number of guests. So I'd probably say...
It's too weird.
I'd just say, your idea of a casual wedding with your nearest and dearest is exactly the kind of vibe.
Yeah, I
So
probably
just-
wouldn't even say nearest and dearest, actually, with your
Yeah.
mates, I'd say. So I'd still edit this, but damn, that's good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, so there's a lot you can do. Let's go through some previous things that I've done. I haven't got on here at the moment, I don't think, but I have done an Instagram caption a few times, actually. So you ask it to write a caption. I don't think it's in here anyway. Ask it for a caption, and it will write it. And you have to, again, rewrite, ask it to rewrite in a different tone. You can ask for hashtags. Yeah, it'll do everything you need. But make sure always make sure you put your own experience, your own personality into there as much as you can. So I did a page about a new venue that's opened in our area, and I wanted to include some information about the venue that I didn't know myself. So I went to their website, copied a bit from their website and said, can you rewrite it? All I said was, please rewrite, because I don't want Google to be like, this is exactly the same, but I want the information there. So that's great. I could also say, please rewrite in a chatty tone or something, which would be great. This one's a good one. We did this for another member during the Zoom that Todd mentioned at the beginning. I asked to, because we read this from him and said maybe it's a little bit, it could have more personality in it. So we asked for more chatty and fun in tone. I pasted the post, and it gave us this, which is pretty good. I think that's quite nice. I asked for some headings. So now you can just pop those headings in, and then we had a little mess around, and we asked for to be rewritten in the tone of David Brent. So you can ask it to rewrite in anyone's voice. So if you think you have the voice of a celebrity, then try it. If you think you talk like a particular person, then ask it for that. Then make sure you don't leave in things like, that's me, David Brent, at your service, because it's obviously misunderstood what I was asking for there. It's a bit odd. So yeah, be careful of that.
But quirky is good, isn't it? And I'd almost rather start with something that's a bit quirky and offbeat than just something that's literally been spat out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess like the moral of the story is, if you're going to use something like this, try and personalise it and customise it and coax something more out of it than just the default thing that it spits out.
Yeah, that's like add your actual experience and stories in there. So here's also another great way to use it. You can ask it for headings. So from the point of view of optimizing for Google, you can say you're doing a certain blog post and you want some headings written and even some little snippet ideas, which snippets are basically on Google where you read the little bit about it. Then I asked for less cheesy, more sass and a bit more clickbaity. So I asked it to rewrite over and over again. I put in a venue with a bit of details about the venue. So, from the perspective of a fun wedding photographer. So these aren't always amazing. But in the end, more emphasis on photos at the venue. Then I changed the venue name. And I came up with, I taught it what I wanted basically. And it came away with some decent things. So these are, if you're thinking of a blog post you can write about a venue, you can use this to come up with titles and like metadata and stuff and headings and everything like that. You can ask it for that. So it's just a really good structure to start writing your blog post. And then maybe you can write the blog post based on it and put it back through here again, or the other way around, to get it written, then ask for a title and ask for headings and stuff. So it can really do everything for you. Yeah, I've done... Here we go. I wanted a slug. So the slug is like yourwebsite.com / and after that comes what it says. So I've asked it for these, which is really great, really handy. It takes a lot of thinking out of marketing. It takes a lot of time out of marketing. It's just really, really useful. As you can see here, I've done some like coding things. So if you need any website help, you can just ask it for website help and coding and stuff like that. There's just like nothing you can't do. So have a play. Run a blog post through it and get it to be written a little bit longer, a bit more detailed, and see what you come up with. Good fun.